guys, so tonight, I should say, we are finally doing the labor and delivery story of Grayson. He's over there hanging out right now while we are doing it. Let's start. My parents came over Saturday night and we went to church, came back, and my mom and my dad brought us like a special treat. My dad and my mom have this thing where...
Tort.
Yeah, they have this thing where they... I keep saying like, have a banana cream pie and the baby will come out. Have a banana cream pie and the baby will come out. Well, I was like, okay, I need a banana cream pie now because nothing else is working. And so they came over and they couldn't find a banana cream pie, so they bought a tort. So we're like, oh, you're gonna have the baby. I'm like, yeah, whatever. I'm like 3 days overdue already, or 2 days at that time. So they left around like midnight, would you say?
Yeah, they didn't get there until like 10:30.
Yeah, they didn't get there till like late. So then they came and they left at like midnight. So we went to bed. I went to the bathroom, and this part, I mean, obviously this is a labor and delivery story, so it's gonna be more explicit than my other videos. Like, as in like, if you get grossed out by things, maybe don't watch it. So anyways, I went to the bathroom and I wiped, and there was like a pink tinge of blood. And
explicit.
Yeah, I have to explain everything. So I was like, oh my god, like something's happening, what the heck? And it was pink, and so I was like, this is not like, you know, freaking normal. So I remember it was like 1:30, and I remember I was like, I called the midwife, like, should I be worried? Is this normal? Because I was kind of freaking out, and Ethan's like, well, just call him and see. And she said, well, you know, it's normal, just kind of see what happens. I'm like, okay. You know, just checking. So then we went back to bed. He went to bed, and I just could not. I went to the bathroom multiple times, and every time I went to the bathroom, I got up, I got like a contraction, and I'm like, and it was like one of those contractions where I'm like, ow,
stopped you in the hallway on the way to bed.
Yeah, and it was like, I was standing, I remember, at that side of the wall, like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. And it was like, my voice was different. Like, it was painful. Whoa. Grayson. I went to the couch, and because I didn't want to like bother him and then wake him up and get him like all excited that maybe I wasn't gonna have a baby. I don't know, like I was just nervous that it was fake. So I went to the couch, and right around 3 o'clock, I like came in and I was like, Eth, I keep having contractions. And that's like all I said. I wasn't like, it's time, we gotta go. I was like, I keep just having contractions. So he jumped up.
I timed like 2 of them, and they were anywhere from, I think the first one was like 5 minutes apart, the second one was 3 minutes apart. And we had gone in
the week before.
Mm-hmm. And I could tell from the way that she was acting, like she was on her hands and knees on the side of the bed, and the noises she was making was like, yeah, it's go time. So she already had her bag packed, but I didn't have mine. So
yeah, so he's in the
closet.
closet.
Went in the closet, packed it, didn't say anything to her, and then I called my parents and said, we're going to the hospital.
And then I called my mom and my sister, and I was like, because they were going to be in the room with us, and I said, yeah, we're going to the hospital. And my mom was like, okay, I'm packing the bag. I'm ready. I'm going to go. And I'm like, no, I don't want you to go yet. I'm just a little nervous. You know, I just want to know that we're going to stay at the hospital first. And she was like, okay, I'll wait. And then she texted me and she said, I have a feeling it's going to go really fast this time. And I was like, yeah, well, you know, we'll see, whatever. So we're like on our way to the hospital, and he's like, do I need to speed? And I'm like, no, don't speed.
But I need to speed more. I was already doing like 10 over.
Yeah. And I'm like, no, it's fine. I don't want you to go fast, because if you go too fast and we get there and then we have to go home, I'm just gonna be annoyed. I just want to make sure these contractions are real, because I mean, it only technically started 3 hours before that. So I was nervous. It was a little too soon to be going to the hospital and like us being there all day. So
they were probably about 2 to 3 minutes apart on the way in the hospital. Yeah. And then every once in a while she would have a random like 5 minute break, and then she'd be able to turn around and be like, we should go home. It's not real. And then literally the second after she'd say that, she'd be like,
just kidding. I'd say, just kidding. We get to the hospital, and we got there, and I was still like had this pinkish tinge every time I went to the bathroom. So they had me go to the bathroom and like pee in this cup. And then they brought me to this room and I had to put this gown on. And remember, she put the heart rate monitor on me, but she didn't put the contraction monitor on me. And he was like, man, this is like pissing me off. Why are they putting the contraction monitor on you? I want them to see that you're having a contraction every 2 minutes, you know?
Looking back at it, I think the lady saw you come in.
I think she knew.
Saw the contractions that you were having and was like, we really don't need to even hook her up. Like, she probably
technically they have
you were gonna get admitted.
Yeah, technically they like have to like monitor you. But we got there at the hospital at 5 in the morning. The nurse came in and was like, okay, so here's your gown and here's this, and got me all hooked up, and I was having contractions like crazy. And then I was having all these contractions and I was like, I feel like I'm gonna throw up. I feel like I'm gonna throw up. And so then the nurse was in there too, so she gave me a bag and I was like, and threw up, and then I was like, oh my god, like maybe I really am in labor. And so then she's like, came out, and we were waiting for the midwife to come in and check me because that's what's supposed to happen. And she said, you know, I think I'm just gonna check you because, you know, I feel like this is gonna go really fast and I can really tell you're in labor, so I'm just gonna check you. And so I was like, okay. So she checked me and she's like, you're at a 5, so we're gonna get your room set up. And so me and Ethan are like, so we're staying? And she's like, yep, you're staying. We'll get your room set up, which took another like, you know, 10 minutes probably until somebody came in to come lead us out. And I was having contractions like crazy. And not only like that, but I was having back labor too. And so I was like, oh my god, my back, oh my god, my back. Like nothing was comfortable. It was horrible. And so
it was probably about a 10 to 15 minute window between the time that they checked you and you were at a 5 to the time we got in the new room.
Yes, and then the time when we got in the new room, my midwife came in and was like, oh, hey. And I'm like, hi, yeah, like, when can I go in the water birth tub? And she was like, when you're at a 7, that's when you can. And I'm like, okay, I have like 2 centimeters to go. And so I was in the bathroom and the nurse was trying to like help Ethan figure out what to do with my back. And I was like, I feel pressure. Like, I feel pressure. And this was like, literally, let me remind you, this was 15 minutes, I'd say, after the nurse before checked me at a 5. And so then she was like, my midwife was like, okay, well, let's check you. So she checked me and she's like, yeah, you're at like a 6 or 7. 6 to 7. And I was like, oh my god, I was just at a 5, like literally 15 minutes ago. And she's like, yeah, okay, so we can get the tub set up. And I'm like, yay, so good. I was so excited.
So while they're trying to set the tub up, Courtney's in the actual tub in the bathroom and having like hot water sprayed on her back, and she's like stripped down naked in the tub, and she's like, can you go out to the car, get our bags? I want to be in my sports bra, so I'm not completely naked with like 3-4 nurses around.
I felt, okay, like I know a lot of people are like, oh my god, you like thought about being clothed at that time, and I totally did. I was like, I felt so weird, and she was just, I mean, nurses are probably used to it, but I was like, go get my bag. I want my bra at least.
So I ran to get the bag. Basically, I jogged to the parking ramp, got the bag, both of our bags, jogged back. As I'm coming down the hallway towards our room, I can like hear her yelling.
You could?
Having a contraction.
Oh, Lord.
And so I'm like, crap, I hope I didn't miss anything. Like the second I walk in, they had her on the table, and the midwife was checking her, and basically as soon as I got in there, she was like, yeah, you're at a 9. Like, basically, I could have potentially missed the birth of Grayson had I walked and taken my time out to the parking ramp or something like that.
Yeah, I was like, and okay, so in the between the time of that happening, when he left for me, like my side of the story, he left and I was in the bathroom and I was like on my hands and knees in the bathtub, and they were like every 2 minutes, and they were like death. Like I was like, oh my god, I can't, oh, it freaking hurt so bad. And the water wasn't doing anything for me really. I mean, it felt good on my back to have warm water, but it wasn't like, oh yay, like this is perfect. I wanted to be in water. And so like I was like, okay, get this tub freaking ready. And so I got out of the tub and I was still waiting for Ethan, and it was like so much pressure. I was standing and like every contraction I had, I was like apparently on my tippy toes. I was just like everything like was so like it hurt so bad that I was like, oh my god.
Your whole body was contracted.
Yeah, it was so intense, like every 2 minutes, super intense. So I was standing at the sink and I remember being like, ah, 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 and then I went, ah, and I started like pushing and I was like, oh my god. I like looked at my midwife, I'm like, I'm pushing, my body's pushing, and I didn't even like, I didn't try. It's like my body instantly just did it. And I'm like, oh my god. So then my midwife was like, well, let's check you quick. And I'm like, freaking Ethan's not even here yet. You can't check me. So I like walked slowly, had another contraction, and my body just instantly, like it just started pushing. And I'm like, oh my god, like what the frick? So I lay down. She checks me. She's like, yeah, you're at a 9. You can start pushing now. Like you're fully effaced, like everything, and just do light pushes. And then that's like, as Ethan's, you know, finally walked in, I got my bra on because I still wanted it on. And so I started pushing, and it was very intense. Like it was not only, okay, we got there at 5 o'clock. So at the time I started pushing, it was like
Probably
6:05.
6:05.
Then was when I actually started pushing the baby out. And it was like, if Grayson came a little slower, I probably would have been like, screw natural birth. This freaking hurts so bad. I want an epidural. But I literally had no time, and I didn't have...
But they wouldn't have given you one at a 9 anyway.
Well, right.
You would have had
Yeah.
you would, at that point. You progressed.
I was stuck. I was
Even
like...
had you actually had a birth plan that you were planning on doing epidural, getting
Yeah.
you know, all the drugs, they wouldn't have time to give it to you.
No, there was nothing I could have done either way. For
About 15
minutes?
Ish. He was born at 6:22.
6:22.
I remember looking at Courtney. I was standing on the side of her and watching, seeing his head starting to come out, and looking at her. And every time she'd push, her face would get more contorted to the point where she had that look, and I probably can't even do it. But it was like one eyeball closed, and the other like.
It was
her
like
whole face was just like she
like
was
that,
possessed.
and
It
I was like,
pretty-
pretty sure I was probably purple.
yeah, that was. Your veins were popping.
Oh my god. It was like, there was a moment, there was multiple moments that I said, I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't do it. And almost every time I pushed, I was like, eat. And he's like, I'm here. I'm like, and I'm pushing. And it was so freaking intense. So he came out 15 minutes after I got done pushing. And, you know, the funny thing is my mom and sister were supposed to be there, you know, in the room. And Ethan, don't do that. Ethan texted my mom at 5 and said, we're staying, you can come. So,
They took their time.
Well, yeah, my mom didn't.
Well,
my mom would have been out in a second,
You asked them to pick up, what? Gum?
Oh yeah, gum and water bottle? I don't,
something like that.
I don't remember.
And so, like, right around 6:05 or so, when Courtney was dilated to a 9, starting to push, I get a text from her mom. I'm in the city that she said was like a half hour still from the hospital. Like she had basically just left our
And my
hometown,
dad was
like 15
speeding.
minutes before.
Yeah.
And so I look at Courtney, I'm like, your mom's not going to make it.
I was pushing at that time, and they were like a half hour, and his head was like right there.
And our midwife was like, well, we can just relax and slow down a little bit. And Courtney's like,
I was
nope,
like, no!
we're going.
And I was like, you guys, I was like a freaking different person. I was like, literally like, oh my fuck. Like in the movie, like that's how it was. Like, don't you think?
What?
In the movies, like how they portray like natural labor birth, like that's what I was doing. Like I was like yelling, I was swearing, I wasn't mean to you though.
No.
I was like, I don't want you to freaking leave my side though. And then the midwife was like, it's okay, swearing is proven to
Decrease the pain by like half.
yeah, decrease the pain by 50%. And I was like, okay, freaking good. And then he came out and I was like, is my V like ripped? The whole thing ripped in half. It's gotta be ripped in half. And she's like, nope, it's fine. I'm like, it has to be ripped in half. And she's like, nope, it's fine. I'm like, oh my God. That was the most painful thing I think I've ever gone through in my whole entire freaking life.